joke that you don't actually make fun of them? Like what? I think he meant he was trolling, I guess, or he was just saying like, oh, it's not that serious. I guess was kind of the explanation he was trying to give. But it does, like, the word satire doesn't really apply here.
Of his fans.
And I made a video about it, and it was one of those things that a lot of reaction channels do. It's one of those things. It's like 50% like parody and like for comedy. It's basically satire, and then 50% like an actual message.
All right.
I mean, a little bit is on you, but you can't take responsibility for every single person that watches your videos. That's ridiculous, you know?
Why? Why can't you just make another video telling them to calm down and
see? That's exactly what I was talking about with me and Pyro. We were thinking about making a video talking about satire content and how we make.
I think stuff like this is probably why so many YouTubers have like a harassment disclaimer now, because they realize how much damage the audience can do if they go out of their way with someone. And it still obviously does happen now and then, right? You can't totally prevent it from the audience, but putting a disclaimer probably does help, just to at least, you know, tell people you don't want them to go out of their way to mess with random guys that you make videos about, right? The unfortunate part is you can never stop everyone, but the disclaimer does at least help a couple people. I'd say it probably stops a decent amount of people from going out of their way with someone, but it also depends on how you do it, you know? Depending on how you make the content, you might encourage or discourage, you know, more people or less people to go out of their way to mess with someone on Twitter or whatever.
Videos about people, but again, it's just parody and it's just for more comedic value.
Do people of African descent ever refer to you as a beverage of sorts? What could that even mean? Are Africans drinking me? I mean, they could be. That's cool.
It's not. We're not legitimately hitting these people.
That would all change after one video where Leafy and his fans took things too far.
Oh, I forgot about this guy, Tommy NC.
Leafy would upload a video making fun of a YouTuber by the name of Tommy NC 2010. Later that day, Tommy posted an emotionally distressed response, claiming that Leafy's fans had harassed him and given him death threats. On March 20th, H3H3 Productions made a video calling out Leafy and the rest of the commentary community, accusing them of enabling a culture of bullying.
And this video was pretty sanctimonious, self-righteous, and hypocritical looking back, because Ethan was making the same kind of content and had even made fun of kids before. He just usually wasn't making fun of kids that were on YouTube as YouTubers with small channels. Instead, he was making fun of like kids that were in like TV shows or something. But he did the same exact thing, right? So this coming from him was definitely kind of hypocritical. I will say I think it's probably for the best that people don't make commentary videos about 10-year-olds. That's probably for the best. You probably shouldn't be doing that as much as possible. He was way less harsh. In some instances he was, but in others he was like straight up insulting different kids' appearances. Like there's this one clip where he was like, look at this kid's hair, it looks like a toupee, right? His message was valid, but he was the wrong speaker. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, for sure.
I've been putting off talking about this because it's just, I'm actually friends with these guys, so it's awkward, it's uncomfortable. But if for some reason we as a community have been giving these guys a pass.
Now, I'm sure all of you know who H3H3 is today, but back in 2016, he was producing a fairly different type of content. Much like Leafy, H3H3 was producing semi-satirical rants and commentaries about people on the internet. Although H3H3's content was conceptually similar to Leafy's, there were a few key differences that set him apart. For one, he had a far less abrasive tone than Leafy. He had a much more mellow and joking approach.
He also did make fun of himself a lot more. Like a lot of Ethan's jokes, he was the butt, I think. He was more self-aware about that. Versus Leafy, a lot of it was like he didn't make jokes about himself. So he was just making a joke about the subject itself. And and Leafy rarely added a comment where he was like, guys, I'm not actually hating on this guy as whatever. He kind of started past the Tommy thing, but back in the day, some of the videos he was making were just straight up, this guy, he sucks, he's ugly, he's weird, he's retarded. Look at this kid with the messed up tooth. Like that was in the Leafy content comment. Like the is this kid moment.
Yes.
Yo, is this person?
Yes, she's. Is that the answer you were looking for? She's retarded?
I'm not trying to be a dick. Like I really can't tell. Like I know some people are gonna be like, oh, it's obvious. I honestly have no idea.
Hey, Leafy, she is retarded. Oh no, I guess I'm the one who looks like an asshole here. Because you were just asking the question. I had to answer.
Exactly, he was just asking questions. I was just trying to answer them. Ethan, hypocritical? No. Yeah, I feel like a lot of what Ethan's done on YouTube is somewhat hypocritical. Unfortunately. We'll see how people take his new Ethan redemption arc, I guess. A lot of people think he's on one of those. He is supposedly making like some video about Hassan Piker soon, which should be interesting. Perhaps some kind of content nuke video. We'll see how that goes.
Approach to his subjects, attracting a much less toxic audience. In a nutshell, H3H3's videos made you laugh, while Leafy's made you mad. Additionally, H3H3 often targeted figures more famous than he, otherwise known as punching up. He would go after TV shows, celebrities, and giant YouTube prank channels. Leafy, on the other hand, had a reputation of punching down. He frequently...
Leafy versus Cringe Guy. The most ignorant YouTuber on YouTube. The saddest man on YouTube finds love. Well, good for Mr. Black Darkness. I'm glad he did. Yeah, Ethan was, I think, a lot more of his content was making fun of other YouTubers back in the day for sure. Like Prank Invasion, and a lot of what Leafy was doing was like, I mean, he would make fun of YouTubers, but he would also make fun of like some kid with 9 subscribers. He'd be like, this is the cringiest thing of all time. And you know, obviously at the time I liked that content, but I think now, you know, as with some things, in retrospect, I can say that probably was a bad idea, you know. Bullying kids on the internet, probably a bad idea. Should probably leave the kiddos alone.
Targeted channels much
If you're an adult, you're fair game.
smaller than his own, leading to much more harm to the victim from Leafy's overwhelming fan base. Heading into 2016, Leafy and H3H3 represented two diverging ends of the commentary community, and it wasn't long before they were no longer compatible.
And past this point, there were even, you can kind of see today, I feel like most commentary channels that exist, or at least the ones that have blown up in the past like 4, 5, 6 years that have kind of taken these guys' places, have been inspired by them in some way. Like Scrubby or like Pegasus was clearly more of like a Leafy-inspired thing. Versus you have people like Drew Gooden, Cody Ko, Danny Gonzalez, Eddie Burback, people like that, who clearly took a lot more inspiration from H3H3. I mean, all of them, I think, at some point, especially even Drew Gooden, I think early on had made videos where they're like, yeah, I was very inspired by H3. I saw his content, I wanted to be like that, and I thought it was great. And they ended up being very successful at it. Cody Ko, he said the same thing. He was like, the best content on YouTube at the time was H3, and I wanted to be like that.
Due to the unprecedented amount of backlash Leafy was receiving from H3H3's video, he quickly took down the Tommy NC rant and issued an apology. But he wasn't taking all that flack sitting down. H3H3's Leafy rant marks a landmark moment in YouTube history, as it sparked a chain of events that would make 2016 the most influential year in the history of YouTube drama. Drama that intensified on March 23rd, when Leafy...
I think that now, probably, retrospectively, it's really cool watching this video years later, because at the time this was definitely true. I think that now the most influential year in YouTube drama was probably 2024. I mean, we had so many different stories. The one that really sticks out to me, though, was the Mr. Beast drama, right? The Mr. Beast drama was every single day there was a new thing. It was never ending. We had Chris Tyson, we had the dog bag videos, then we had the walk back from the dog bag videos with those getting criticized. We had claims about the TV show. We had claims about workplace, problems, workplace harassment. I feel like that was probably the biggest year for YouTube drama that we've seen so far. Now, we might see another year that's even bigger, but I don't think we'll get a year bigger than 2024 for YouTube drama for quite a while. So it's, be thankful for the entertainment you got through laughing at people's misery for the last year, because I don't think we'll get another year like that for quite a while. Paymoney Wubby used to be a self-admitted items knockoff, but then he went to full-time Twitch streamer. I miss his main channel vid so much. I'm sure he makes way more money on Twitch, though. I've never really been a Paymoney Wubby viewer. The only familiarity I have with him is the Gus Johnson drama, really, which he had pretty good coverage there. But I honestly, when I saw stuff back in the day, I thought he was more like Fantano inspired. Oh, you mean like these videos?
Trust me, I wouldn't come back unless I had something important to talk about. And boy, do I. This photo, this single...
Okay. Hey! You think it was an items knockoff? So, like, let's see, sort by the oldest videos. Let's see when we can see the quote-unquote items knockoffs.
Nani? Paymoney Wubby back on the scene? He probably has something important to say. No, I don't. Welcome everybody to back to the Paymoney Wubby show. I'm Paymoney Wubby. Oh my god, I have so much acne. My neon sign is down and my room is... This is the only YouTube channel that as I get more money, the production value actually goes down.
So many different people have switched from prepared content to streaming in the past little while, because I think they just realize how much more money you get off of streaming, right? I still do prepared content, and I think I always will. I don't ever want to be a full-time streamer because I think it would ruin my life. I genuinely think that I would lose my mind and slip off into the abyss of insanity if I was streaming every single day. But I see why people do it, and if they're able to mentally hold themselves back from losing their minds, good for them. I just don't think that streaming for me full-time would be good. I think being that terminally online would probably ruin me. And also, I would prefer to be known primarily for prepared content than for streaming. Streaming will always be kind of a side thing for me. But these guys just make way more money off of streaming in the long run, right? Like, you can make way more money off of streaming to a few thousand people and posting those clips to YouTube than you can from making, you know, prepared content straight up, right? You can. It's undoubtedly a possibility. So I don't really blame him for doing that. Because it's like, you put all this time into making a video that's 22 minutes long, it gets 1 million views, and you make $2,000. Versus you stream once for 8 hours in one day, and then from that, you can make like 8 live stream clips and post to YouTube, and each of those might make a few $1,000s. Like, it's so clear why people have taken up streaming. Every commentary channel, I feel like, has started streaming. Well, not every commentary channel, but a lot of them have started streaming. Like, I mean, Pyrocynical, he does streaming now, right? He brought back his quote-unquote slop content, right? A lot of people have done that. Is this not your full-time thing? I don't want you to stream every day, but what's the schedule? Well, streaming is not my full-time thing. Absolutely not. The majority of the time I spend is on actually making videos. So, yeah, I mean, what's the schedule? I have no idea what the schedule is. There's no schedule for streaming, and I don't think there ever will be. Because I don't want to feel like I'm beholden to having to stream at one point in time, as far as like an everyday thing. Tom, we both know that if you started streaming full-time, there would be a global lotion shortage. Don't play dumb. That's true, there would be. And that's also part of the problem. I don't want to negatively contribute to the global lotion supply. Anyone know why it doesn't show me as a member? Maybe you're not. The drink with the monkey, stay hydrated, bro. Alright, bro. Thanks for the donut.
Leafy retaliated with the H3H3 Productions rant. In it, Leafy revealed a series of DMs between he and Ethan, uncovering—
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. No biggie. Was just curious. Okay, dude, keep shaking your dick. Happy for you blowing up. You got a unique style and personality, man. You worked hard to get where you are, and you deserved it. It pisses me off to see Pyro riding yours and others' coattails to undeserved success. Yeah, I'm calling out the Leafy clan community back in the day. I will say, during this time period, I think that Leafy kind of overplayed just how much he was friends with Ethan. Like, I don't think it was a total backstab for Ethan to make that video about Leafy. People care about this kind of stuff less. I feel like people treat commentary channels with less like, oh, you exposed me. People care about that stuff less. If anything, there's more sweeping allegations than ever. But as far as Leafy, I feel like the bigger point here was that Ethan was kind of a hypocrite, right?
a rather duplicitous side of Ethan, in which he befriends Leafy just months before attacking him, while also conspiring against Pyrocynical.
Because a lot of people don't understand that me and H3H3 Productions used to be friends.
The commentary community—
And they weren't really friends. They were friendly. But I would say that, you know, Keemstar Soul, we were talking in the DMs, we were friends, meme from back in the day. You know, I wouldn't call someone that I talked to in DMs or the internet 3 or 4 times friends with them, you know? Unless we have, like, long, in-depth conversations, but I would say probably not.
Was now split in two, and for the first time since becoming popular, Leafy looked somewhat vulnerable. He had never before dealt with a confrontation where a huge number of people were against him. The H3 Leafy drama sent shockwaves across the YouTube community, and Leafy quickly became one of YouTube's most notorious figures. It got everyone talking, even a guy like Video Game Donkey, someone who never commentates on anything drama related, made a video mocking Leafy.
You may remember me from my dipshit videos where I make fun of retarded people.
There was a whole wave back in the day that I even see this happening now. Where people are sick of drama content because it's been so successful and so popular over the last few years that they're making these, like, if commentary YouTubers were honest videos, right? But back in the day, there was a big wave from Video Game Donkey, from Jack's Films, I want to say from like Psychic where they were all making these videos where they were like, YouTube drama, there's too much YouTube drama, it sucks, right? What was that song Jack's Films made? Drama is more popular than content. Yeah, this video.
Drama is more popular than content.
As if drama isn't content. There was a big, big wave of this back in the day. It was a little snooty looking back. I think a lot of these guys were kind of not accepting of the times changing and the fact that YouTube, as it became a more legitimate industry, would have its own kind of version of TMZ. Donkey's so insufferable when he covers drama. Oh, you mean he sicked his fan base on Dumbsville for disliking Last of Us 2. He also apologized to Dream when he failed to prove he didn't cheat. I don't really know anything about that drama with him. To be honest, I was never a big Donkey viewer. He's made some funny videos that I've liked, but I've just never really been a viewer of him, so I personally can't attest to that. Raid by Nick. Oh, thanks for the raid, Nick. Appreciate it, bro. We're going over some old YouTube content right now, chat.
A few months later, Ethan would actually unlist the Leafy rant. He uploaded a video apologizing for his overly personal attack on Leafy, claiming that he was no longer proud of the original rant. Interestingly, Ethan would quickly unlist this video too, and you can make of that what you will. Regardless of Ethan's true intentions, the damage was already done to Leafy's credibility. The H3H3 rant was the first shot across the bow in the internet's gradual turn against Leafy, and a sign of much more grave things to come. But once all the flames died down, Leafy would remain relatively unscathed for the next couple of months, as YouTube's scorn was instead drawn to a very familiar figure.
I remember this H3 rant even bit Ethan in the ass a few years later, because Gokunairu made the video about Ethan, right? And it was a very popular video. It was a very good video. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And he talked about how hypocritical Ethan was during that time period in that video. And looking back, that video Gokunairu made is probably not perfect. I haven't seen it in a few years, so who knows how much of it I would disagree with now if I watched it. But that video was very popular for a reason, because it gathered a lot of feelings that people had around Ethan Klein at the time and why they disliked him. It gathered a lot of feelings they had, and it basically condensed it into a very easy to watch video that dissected all of Ethan's past and gave people reasoning for their general feeling, right? Because people had feelings about H3, they didn't like him anymore, they felt like he fell off. Diesel Patches made videos about it, but it didn't really affect Ethan. That video that Gokunairu made affected Ethan so much he had to respond and talk about how he thought everything Gokunairu said was right. What do you think is the future for commentary YouTube? What do you think of the climate for new creators? What do I think is the future? I have no idea what the future is. I'm retarded. Hopefully me. What do you think is the climate for new creators? I mean, what do you mean climate? I don't really know. To be honest, I care less and less with time about like this greater conversation of like the commentary scene. Yeah, I like watching it on the history of it, but I don't really know like what the prediction for the future is. I think you'll have a lot of people who are making kind of like lefty bread tuber type video essay commentary videos, and I think you also have some people who are making more edgy stuff like Big Bungie. I think you'll kind of have both of that split.
Keep your hand.
Is slop the meta? The thing is, like, people always say, like, is slop the meta? Is slop the new thing? There's so much slop, right? There is a lot of, like, quote-unquote slop. People have always liked slop. Leafy was huge back in the day for making quote-unquote slop. Right now, people love that kind of slop-type video, right? Critical is huge doing that kind of thing. But there's also a lot of, like, prepared content that's very successful, like my videos, that are, like, more in-depth, deep dives on these various people, like Svarage or Chris Chan, where I go over their history, and those are very successful, too. Both of those things will always exist. Look at what I do. I have multiple channels, right? I have a main channel where it's, I'd say, not slop. I have a second channel where, you know, the Tom Dark channel, I'd say, is getting more slop with time. It's more prepared as time goes on. But it's still, you know, some more sloppy than the main channel because it's not as high production value or prepared. And then you have this channel, which is pure slop, right? But all these things will always exist. Like, you can succeed off of making one kind of content that is like more slop focused, and you can also succeed off of making one kind of content that's less slop focused and is more prepared content. Both of these things will exist.
And on.
After H3H3 turned on his former ally, everyone in the commentary community had to watch their backs. The Leafy rant would go on to attract a ton of viewers, and everyone discovered that there was now a huge audience for YouTube drama, and therefore a huge incentive to expose unscrupulous YouTubers.
And this is where the infighting started, where the drama became not just about Leafy and Keemstar and Pyrocynical and No Fuckers shooting their derision and their criticism, their quote-unquote hatred, right? The era changed from them spewing that at other people to it happening within the community. Keemstar and Leafy started fighting, and that was probably where the stuff got so interesting, right? That was probably where I think a lot of you guys probably find the most memorable content. The stuff you remember back in the day is probably not the video Leafy made about FouseyTube. It's probably the video Leafy made about Keemstar. That is what people remember most.
Be the first.
That opportunity was seized by a new challenger that you all know as iDubbbz. On May 5th, 2016, iDubbbz uploaded the bombshell known as the Keemstar Content Cop.
And this is what I talk about with the ebb and flow, right? Leafy blew up because there was a market for commentary videos in general, and anything would kind of pass at that point in time. Low effort stuff would rise to the top because he was the first guy doing it, right? But then there kind of was a response to that where iDubbbz was doing more prepared, high effort content, and he was making it, you know, with relative frequency, but not as much frequency as Leafy did. But his videos became much more memorable because they really stood out at that point in time, right? You probably don't remember very many specific Leafy videos, but you can probably name 5 or 6 episodes of Content Cop off the top of your head. And so he, you know, capitalized on a market of people who, you know, some of which were former Leafy fans or current Leafy fans who were kind of getting sick of that kind of content that Leafy was making, and then some of which who hated what he was making and always thought it was low effort, and iDubbbz came in with this kind of new era of stuff. My favorite one looking back, I think, was the Keemstar one. I think that one was the funniest, and I think that's what I appreciate about it most. It had the best bits. The actual, you know, content, what he was talking about, some of the points against Keemstar were good, but I think it was the funniest. Like the scene where he's in the sewer wrestling with Keemstar, and there's like the tied up black dude. You got the popcorn everywhere. That was an awesome video. Kickstarter crap was goated. Kickstarter crap was also good, for sure.
A 22-minute expose that ripped into Keemstar with such surgical precision that it instantly shot him up to public enemy number 1. Keemstar, who thrived on YouTube drama, was ironically going to become its next target. Leafy should have been thankful. Keemstar had taken all the heat off of him, but Leafy, the eager opportunist that he was, saw Keemstar's stumble as an opportunity to redeem himself.
I can't believe he used that image. Damn.
After the H3H3 dispute. Just a few months earlier, Leafy used Keemstar as a friendly platform to grow his audience. Leafy would once again use Keemstar to grow his audience, this time as an enemy. On June 13th, Leafy would launch the first strike in a series of attacks that spanned 2 months and 4 rants, culminating in a video where Leafy claimed he was suing Keemstar for defamation.
Which never happened. I'm still looking back on this. I'm kind of curious why Leafy did this. Because Leafy claimed that he did it for money, right? He claimed he did it for AdSense in this interview that he did with Keemstar in like 2019. He claimed he did it for AdSense. But I don't know if I totally buy that. Because he already was making so much money. I don't think that he made that much more money by talking about Keemstar. I think that he probably was feeling a mix of pressure from the community to disavow Keemstar and on him because he was friends with him. I think it was a mix of that. And a mix of, I think somehow he had genuinely convinced himself that some of these points were true. Like, I think he had genuinely convinced himself that Keemstar was a bad person and he needed to call him out. I think it's kind of a mix of these things. I don't think that it was as simple as he just wanted to backstab him for money, right? I don't really buy that explanation. Ethan versus Keemstar Nukes got me really into YouTube drama. Oh, so you kind of came in during like 2020, that kind of era. Yeah, that was like right after Gokunaru, maybe a year after Gokunaru, that stuff went down. Something like that. 2019, 2020, around there. Why are you up so late? I woke up at 5 p.m., so I have a really bad sleep schedule right now. Why did Leafy become fat? He didn't go to the gym, dude. He didn't go to the gym. He's got to go. Maybe I'll have a fat era. Who knows? I haven't gotten fat yet. You know, I'm still exercising, and I don't eat great, but I eat probably decent enough that the effects of becoming obese get staved off by going to the gym. But I saw it coming. You know, part of the reason I started going to the gym is because I was like, all right, I'm 19, I'm 20 years old, right? I'm not going to be this skinny little thing forever. You know, I'm either going to get fat or I got to get jacked. So these are my two options, and I decided to go on one. I decided to go with the jacked one, okay, because I didn't want to be fat. I knew I wouldn't be thin forever. You know, my family history shows me that past a certain age, we start widening out, all right? We start getting a little bit of girth, and I can either turn that girth into a little bit of muscle and not get completely fat, or I can become completely